I want to talk to both of you about asylum claims because it's been revealed more than 100,000 people whose asylum seeker applications were rejected are still here in the country. Now, that's a record number, and it's grown by 15,000 just in the past 12 months. Many of these people who should have been deported are now apparently undocumented workers. Michael, I think this would infuriate most Australians. If your application fails, I think most Australians would think you should be immediately deported, but endless appeals means people get to, stay while they're waiting for legal processes to play out. And then officials, I guess, lose track of them and we end up where we're at.
Well, it's a joke if officials lose track of them. That's an absolute joke. That's completely unacceptable. Look, there needs to be amendments to the Migration Act and our Immigration Acts because the bottom line here is, whilst, and I do support asylum seekers coming to Australia, but in an orderly fashion. And an orderly fashion means that you're processed offshore. You just don't arrive and claim, asylum. If you do that, there ought to be, a situation where you're either deported back to a safe location or alternatively, you're dealt with very quickly. And if your asylum claim falls over, you are, maybe given one appeal, but after that, you're taken out of the country. I mean, it's an unacceptable situation where people are abusing the process and we have no policing of it. The Act needs to be changed.
Yeah, and I think you're right to talk about maybe there's one appeal and then that's it. But at the moment, it seems like there's just appeal after appeal after appeal. It clogs up the system. As I said, they lose track of people. The whole thing's a joke. The other interesting statistic that came out today was, Cameron, last financial year, only 14% of people who arrived here and then claimed asylum were found to be legitimate asylum seekers. Or to flip it, 86% were found their claims were not justified at all, which says to me there's a lot of people gaming the system and playing on our good faith.
Well, I don't think they're gaming it. I think they're rorting it, James. They're rorting it. And this is the problem because, we look like we're tough on the borders, but we're in fact not. We're letting people come here, and I agree, Michael, proper asylum seekers through UN refugee camps and like, we've always got to have open arms for. But there's clearly a whole cohort of people who are gaming Tony Burke's rules, gaming them for their own advantage, and then slipping into the ether in terms of this illegal workforce that's out there, taking up rental properties, taking up houses as well, no doubt. So this is the problem. No, if you have your visa rejected, you need to be ejected. We need to send them home.
Michael, the other thing about this is that, and I'm a big believer in, oftentimes we ignore things because we say, well, it's not big enough to worry about. Then it gets so big, you're unable to do anything about it. And we've seen in Europe and in the United States, when it eventually becomes such a big problem that really it demands action, then all hell breaks loose because there's no polite or nice way to deal with it. It gets ugly, and that's really the danger for our country if the government doesn't address this. As I said, it's at record numbers now and growing.
Absolutely. And again, I refer to Trump's speech to the UN. I mean, he made it absolutely clear that it's a major problem across Europe. And, I thought his point about diversity of countries and the problems that they're facing with illegal immigration was a good point. I have to say that, thank heavens, in Australia, we've taken, on a bipartisan basis in the past, a fairly strong stance on this. And I note that the current Labor government is reversing some of its approach, just with Nauru and other places as offshore processing facilities. But you're absolutely right. You want to have a situation where the public supports proper asylum seeker processes for genuine people, and those that are rorting the system, as Cameron says, or are abusing the system, just have to be dealt with very quickly.